Hi YouTube, Tim here. I have a little project I wanted to share with you. As you've seen, we've made some actual pretty interesting toy and prop weapons out of PVC. This is just a 11.5 inch long piece of flattened Schedule 40 3/4 inch pipe. Now it's 11.5 inches long, which makes it almost the exact perfect length for a K-bar knife. One of the old Marine Corps fighting knives. I thought it'd be pretty cool to go ahead and let's just cut it out, see what we have. It's not, of course, going to be a real knife, but it's going to be more like a real knife than the prop and play weapons, and you really probably could hurt somebody with this, so I recommend being very careful. You can either go ahead and saw it out, or I'm more likely to heat it up and then cut it out and re-flatten it again. That's just because I think the edge will be nicer, it'll create a whole heck of a lot less dust and PVC shavings. Believe me, once you start going ahead and snipping it out, I don't think you're going to regret doing something like that. But mostly to get it flat initially was just so we had the pattern out. I'm going to go ahead now and cut it out one way or another, and I'll show you what I've got. Alright, so now I've cut out the blank. This is what we have. Has the scalloped back end, the chisel point, and the saw blades here near the grip. I'm going to heat up a section of 1/2 inch pipe. Maybe 3/4 inch pipe. We'll have to see. 3/4 would feel better, I think. And go ahead and slip it over the grip. I'm going to leave the blade like this. It's relatively floppy, which is how I want it. If you really wanted, this is not meant to be a dangerous weapon, but it's definitely a lot more serious. This is not really a toy. I would not feel comfortable giving this to a kid. But if you really wanted to stiffen it up a little bit, you could probably do that by laminating extra layers of PVC. It's still not going to be super rigid, but the stuff is going to be a lot more durable. As it is, it's more dangerous than a rubber prop weapon, not as dangerous as a real knife. So still use caution. It'll look a lot more like a real blade when we're done, though, if you leave it nice and thin like this. You might recognize this piece as one of the Scythians cut off from my little Scythian bow. Very nice, beautiful Scythians. They were great, but it was desired that I should put some 1/2 inch Scythians on, so I did, and I'm left with these. Now what do I do with the scraps? One of them is going to be my handle. It's a little bit too long, but that's okay. Once we heat it up, we'll just snip it to length, and then we'll form it. If you really wanted to make it look extremely accurate, I'd suggest cutting out rings. Just cut rings of PVC, and then smooth the edges down, preferably of both 1/2 inch and 3/4 inch. And then you could slide them on, shape them, get them into place, and glue them on like that. It would look really cool. I'm just going to settle for a mono handle. Okay, first things first, let's just determine the length we need. It's going to be approximately that long, so snip, snip. Yow, that's hot. It's not really hot enough to cut, but where there's a will, there's a way. Just another quick blast of heat. Let's see if the handle will slip on. There it is. Very nice. The only thing that I want on there too is the grip, the actual hand guard. And I want to slip that on as well. Now that we know that fits, that's good enough. We still have a little bit left here. It's not. That's also not soft enough to cut, but that's what we're going to make our cross guard from. Let's see if we can take a piece of that off now. Great. So I'm sure you can see where that's headed. Want to get this to stay nice and hot. And while we're heating it, we might as well go ahead and keep this thing warm. Alright, next step, I'm going to take this, half flatten it, and slice it down the middle. If it's not completely symmetrical, that's okay. One side should stick out a little farther than the other. These small pieces heat up so quickly you don't have to worry too much about letting them cool off. So now we have that done, but we need it flat. So to start that at least, I'm just going to hold it here for a minute until it starts to soften. While I do that, again, let's just keep the handle hot. Definitely could have done this in a different order, and that would have been preferable, but hindsight is 20/20. There we go. We can shape that a little bit more later. That's basically it. We're essentially done with that. Let's just make sure this is still hot enough to slip on. Still feels soft, so I think except for the ends, we're in luck. Yeah, small amounts of PVC like this really heat up very quickly, so you don't have to worry too much about temperatures. There we go. I like that. Alright, nice. With a little bit of sanding, I'm sure you can see where this is headed, and it'll look pretty darn nice. I'm going to round out the bottom here and form a cap out of this. Okay. A little bit more heat. Let's just flatten that. Small pieces heat up fast, they also cool down quickly, so there we are. I'm going to glue this on, I'm going to sand it down. Actually, I'll probably sand it first and then I'll glue it on. Then I'll come back and I'll show you the final K-bar knife. So I went ahead and I've shaped and smoothed all the edges and all the pieces here. I just need to glue it all together. And I took the end cap and I shaped and smoothed that as well. So a little hot glue here. You can work in all around the top of the handguard, and all along the side of the handle. Pretty well filling that in. Later you can heat it up on the outside and then just scrape off excess. And put a good dollop here on the bottom, and also attaching the bottom to the main shank there. Let's take that, just get it nice and centered. There you go. I'm also going to go around the edge there. Cool. Now you can go and you can clean up the hot glue, stuff like that. But we have a fully cohesive, nice K-bar style knife. If you wanted, you could go ahead and wrap this with paracord, do something like that. I'm going to go ahead and paint it, and I'll show you that when it's done in another vid. Thanks for watching. This is the completed K-bar style knife. I decided not to do the traditional sort of scalloped grip of the original Marine Corps K-bar knives, and unfortunately all of the black paracord that I had ended just before I got to the bottom, so it looks a little schlocky. I will paint that up, clean it up, and make it look a little nicer. It'll just look like a good end cap, but it feels great. I think in a pinch it could do as a prop knife. It's very nice. It feels good. It's not sharp and dangerous and poke, poke, poke. You could hurt yourself with it, but you'd really have to try. It's fun, and I hope everybody enjoyed the whole build along. Thanks for watching. Tune in next, and we'll see what I do. Have a great day.